Welcome back, keepers. Okay, so I watched the video Ano Ana by Helum, and I put it in Sagittarius's video because, like, for whatever reason, it was coming to me, and I've listened. My daughter's played it a few times, but I haven't really thought about it since the concert that I went to. If you get a chance to go to the Helum concert, do it. Just do it. Like, there's no words. There's no freaking words. So, when we're talking about this vital life force energy, the source, flame, spirit, whatever you want to call it, it's not just a religious thing and a medical thing, right? It's also kind of pervasive in the spiritual community too, where they're kind of asking you to give over to whatever the heck it is that they're telling you. And I don't think they mean ill. I think it's just their subconscious kind of running amok. Like, this is how I do it. This is how it's supposed to be done. And we forget that sometimes a lot of those famous and popular spiritual gurus are surrounded by people doing everything for them at their beck and call. Before enlightenment, cut wood. After enlightenment, cut wood. Like, the majority of us still have to do our own cleaning and our own housework and whatever else. So when we're exploring this idea of vital life force energy and keeping it sovereign, it's no different when you're listening to a spiritual community leader. It's no different than going to, say, a doctor's office and sitting there, like, maybe with your beloved or your, a family member or one of your best friends or your offspring, right? Your child. And the doctor's sitting there telling you, you don't know anything about this person. I know everything about this person, and I know what's best for them. And they want to treat them for symptoms you can't see, that you're like, I don't understand why this is happening, because what I'm telling them I'm seeing, and what the person next to me is also conveying to them, they're not hearing. And they're like, well, it's this, it's actually this. And you sit there and you go, okay, so can you tell me why it's this? And they can't tell you why it's this. It's just this, and you need to take this. And you're like, how did you come up with that conclusion? Can you give us some insight as to how that happened? And they're like, well, can we run a test? Yeah, we can run lots of tests, but they're not going to show anything conclusive. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's a constant, the spiritual community will tell you, like, okay, so this is a good remedy for this, or you need to be like this in the world, and you need to behave like that in the world, and you need to go out and da 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 in the world. So when you're busy trying to keep up with this energetic pattern that keeps, showing up on whatever it is, maybe it's your newsfeed. This is why people take breaks, to get perspective. Because when you're able to stand back a little bit, you're like, oh, I could see how that could serve some people, but that's not going to serve me. And then if you're looking at, like, planetary alignments and whatnot, and understanding the energies that are hitting the planet, and then you see these people going out and, like, telling a vast majority of people to do the opposite of the energy that's hitting the planet, that's going to cause a lot of people a lot of pain and a lot of heartache and whatever else. And then you get gurus saying, just go out and do whatever you need to do without thinking about the consequences. It's a really bad idea. It's just a really bad idea. Like, you should really consider the consequences. Like, there's kind of a fad happening in the spiritual community. I saw a video yesterday of, like, people thinking that it's a really good idea to start mixing chemicals in their own body that their body naturally produces. It's not anything, it's not like a drug that comes from the outside and goes in, but they're mixing it in their own body by mixing the pain and pleasure. Now, I'm not saying anything poo-poo about that, but I don't think that's for everybody. I think there's a ridiculously large community that is trying to get off that chemical, if you know what I mean. They're busting their ass, doing all the inner work and struggling with this huge inner battle, this war that's going on with the chemical addiction of what just naturally occurs in the body when you mix extreme pain and extreme pleasure. Okay? So, understanding that not all of these ideas, these practices, these whatever it is for the entirety of everybody that hears it. So, that's what I'm saying when I'm like, keep your flame. Know yourself, know the consequences for your choices, understand how that pattern is going to play out for you. Understand that this does not mean that you're left out or you're whatever it is, okay? It's just not going to be for everyone, okay? If you feel the need to practice and you're like, look, I've already been through this, I know the chemical reaction that takes place, and I know how to detox from it. And a lot of people have that already set up for themselves, and they can go in and out as they please. And some people are like, I'm staying here for the rest of my life because this is the only place that I found that I feel safe. Now, as backwards as that sounds to some people, I totally understand that process. I totally get it. You do feel safe in that container because there's rules there. There's, hopefully you're dealing with someone who understands that those rules apply very strictly and you don't fuck around. But for those who have experienced the other side of that, even if you've experienced both sides of that, you still know which one it feels better, right? And it might not be either of them. So understand that this is just triggering the same chemical reaction that you have, but it's just in a container. Hopefully, if you know what the heck you're doing and you have someone with you that you can trust or people that you can trust, right? Right. So knowing that same chemical compound is going to be released into your system, and you usually get addicted to it, and then that's kind of how it goes. But I have a theory about this. Are you ready? So all of this energetic masculine energy, which is not, it's not toxic, it's masculine energy. They need to go out and do stuff. That's what they're just, that's how they function. They run through the woods, they hunt stuff down. That's how they've always been. We need to honor that. And as little kids, or as little 5-year-old kids are sat there in a classroom and told to sit down and shut up, and it's terrible what we do to kids. It just is. But anyway, so that is their main objective in life, is to run through the woods and chase something down. You don't just bypass zillions of years. However, you can argue about how many, whatever. There's so many theories out there. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so for however many years, they have been streaming this through their system. That's how they've functioned. It's literally screaming through their DNA. They have to do something with it. They have to. You don't just get to say, well, you need to sit there. I mean, no. Go run around the block. Go do, as they're progressing. And as they get older, they're still going to have that energy to deal with. They'll deal with it in a more mature way, but at the same time, they're still going to have that excess of energy. So what are we doing with it? How are we harnessing it? Well, we have gyms for that. We have gyms, and then running for that. We have gyms. So they're paying their hard-earned resources to stand in front of a mirror and lift weights and go on a treadmill and whatever else. How do you think that's going to make them feel? Not very productive. Like, they're getting stuff done. They can see, the outcome is like, fabulous, and they get more attention from the ladies, but they're not doing what that actually is there to fulfill. There's a fulfillment that has to go along with that action, and it's not being fulfilled. It's not being fulfilled, and that's why we're running into a shite ton of problems. Because there's a role that needs to be fulfilled there that's not being fulfilled. And that is service to community. They're not bringing back anything to eat. I suppose you go to the grocery store, but it's not the same. It's not even close. They're not bringing back anything to eat. They're not building any structures. They're not mending fences, whatever it is, right? This is why in the beginning when I told you to like figure out what you're going to do with these. Okay, other than putting around somebody else's throat. So yes, being physical in the gym is super important. I'm not poo-pooing that. But there's a particular fulfillment that comes along with that action that's not being fulfilled. So you're getting the physical exertion out. You're getting that excess energy dissipated, right? But you are not fulfilling what it is that you actually set out to do the physical motion for, which is feeding the tribe and, creating parameters, boundaries, figuring out where it's safe to go, where there might be like potholes or waterfalls or the layout of the land, understanding where you can go and where you can't go, where's safe, where's not safe, and then coming back to the tribe and reporting that. Okay, so that's that's super important because that's masculine. Here's the post and here's your boundary of operation, right? Now, unfortunately, because we haven't instructed our masculine energies to assess the boundaries, a lot of times what you'll find is the masculine who is very shy, scared, and not very when he engages in a relation with the feminine, that boundary is really small and constricting. Almost like they're suffocating in that environment and they can't take it because they want to explore. That's their purpose. How can I see all these different little things within the safe constructs, right? Within the safe container. Within the safe container. It's so cute. You guys are adorable. I love you. So, how can I explore this area and make something with it? The masculine says, here's the constructs, here's the boundaries, here's the parameters, right? Go, my love. Go. And then they keep expanding that. That's the whole goal, is those boundaries are to be kept being expanded upon. And when you run up against something that's no good, you draw that boundary back in. Okay? Ooh, child. Okay, so we're going to work past that trigger and understand that, yep, the male is definitely in charge of telling you where you can and can't go, where it's not safe, where it is not safe to go. And understanding that if you are dealing with a particular masculine energy who has been severed and splintered and shattered, that your area of conduct is going to be excruciatingly small. And it might kill you. And he doesn't need to do it with his bare hands. He will crush your spirit into nothing. I didn't make the rules. I'm just here reporting. Okay? Which is why I don't do very well in relationships. I need a vast area to explore. My Sagittarius ascending and stellium needs a vast area. I had the best partnership I had. We lived in separate towns. And all he did was be like, hey, babe, what's that over there? Did you see that? Go check it out, would you? And he had already checked it out. He knew it was safe. And I would just go. And it's kind of a metaphorical thing, of course. But at the same time, he's like, what's that over there? And I would take my curiosity and be like, I don't know, let's see. And then we do the women thing where we're given an opportunity to explore, we find something of value and we bring it back and we do cool stuff with it. Like make a meal or knit a thing or do a crazy project thing with it. Or medicine. Medicine was a huge thing for that too. So dialing that in to our understanding of moving forward and not having to take it. If a Scorpio stellium is going, you don't really need to take it to extremes. You just need to understand the pattern that you're looking for and find whatever construct that means for you and get into that. Okay, love you. Okay? All right. I hope this gave you a little bit of enlightenment while you're exploring this beautiful springtime energy that we're having on the planet, because it is glorious. It feels different this year. Feels much different this year. I'm digging it. So, I'm going to get back to my cutting wood. And then I'll probably see you for maybe 1 or 2 videos tomorrow. And then I'm going to take the weekend off. Okay? I love you. Until next time, keep your flame.